Welcome everybody to another. What's today? Wednesday? To another Wednesday ACIM call. And, the purpose of these calls is really to practice the teachings of A Course in Miracles and see if we can apply it to the financials in our lives. And if we can combine and meet spiritual and financial conversations, because all things related to money is a spiritual thing. There is when we talked last night, we talked about capital raising as a spiritual event. Because it's not really about the money. When we have this conversation every week, twice every week, is to help us remember that everything is energy. Everything is energy, meaning that there's a law of energy. It says in the Course that all things are energy, or all things are ideas, and ideas grow as it is being shared, not forced upon, but ideas grow as it is shared. I was talking to a friend yesterday, and he said that, hey, my whole life I've been an underdog, and all I ever want to do is help other underdogs succeed. And he's like, I don't really know how to do it, but I can see that they're also underdogs. And my response to that is, if I was in his place, and if I used the teachings of A Course in Miracles, like logically or according to the laws of energy and ideas, if I share it, it grows. If I continue to think about it, if I speak it out, it grows. The idea grows that I am an underdog. And all thought produces form on some level. This is what the Course says. So if that's the case, then don't even participate in that conversation. Don't let those words come out of your mouth. Because first you think it, then it comes out of your mouth. And when it comes out of your mouth, it becomes real. See, at least when we're thinking it, we don't really know if it's real or not. But as soon as we actually let it come out of our mouth and other people hear it, all of a sudden it becomes real. And it's the same thing as making declarations. When we make declarations on social media or to our friends or whoever, once the words come out, we have to defend it now. It becomes real, right? We're held accountable. So this idea of money. Okay, we all have ideas of money. Some people think the wealthy are greedy. That means we're in exact resistance to money, to the idea of having money. If having money means, if people having money means they're greedy or they're rude or they're unkind, whatever it is, then somewhere inside we have a conflict because we want it. We want the money. We want to be able to be free. So allowing our minds first to come back to a neutral place, because it's not about anything. And I say this sometimes with people that are challenged with raising capital in the real estate game. Okay, we do a lot of capital raising to buy properties together, which I love. I love any concept that requires people coming together to accomplish a goal. Not that the biggest thing that attracts me to it is anytime that you have to do something with someone, it brings up the opportunity to recognize, where am I lacking in relationships? Right? Where am I not being loving? And if we can look at everything that way, then who's it up to create the experience that we want to create? Right? Mark, go ahead. You want to say something?
I sure do. Thank you for acknowledging me, sir. I just wanted to put out a huge acknowledgement to our guy, Alex Lovelace, for being the human being on this spiritual journey. Helping a 14-year-old raise a declaration of $100,000 at an event so that she may pursue her vision feeding the, the people who cannot feed themselves. And it's just, it's just amazing how Alex can just step into greatness, in just a wink's notice and truly raise people up. He's the man who puts boulders out of the way for those of us who are on our path to show us a way to approach it with love, light, and passion. And I just wanted to share that with everybody and anybody who can hear these words to know what this man does behind the scenes, on the scenes, and in reality, he is the man you see here and always, and all time.
Thank you, Mark. Love you, brother.
I must say amen to that, Alex. Thank you for your service.
Thank you, Nelson. Thank you. I did not plug them in there, just so you know. They're just really great brothers of mine. So, yeah, speaking of that, right? Like you're referring to, obviously, the 14-year-old that I met at GrowthCon, which, I just feel so inspired. The Course says that the goal for all of our relationships and for our own atonement is to recognize the innocence, is to bring everything back to innocence, to before the stories, right? To before all the limiting beliefs we have attached to everything. Can you close that door, please? The main door, so I don't wake them up. And returning that to innocence. And what better way to return our own minds back to the innocence than to work with teens, to work with children, right? Like it reminds me, and the last couple of days have just been so much fun because they've stayed at my house and we want to do some cool things together. We want to do some collabs together. I'm giving them some, business tips, some entrepreneurship tips of how to grow, how to use CRMs. And she already she's naturally like a leader. If you guys follow Ever Matson, okay, on social media, she is amazing. Just watch what she does, and she's just at such a young age, she speaks like, if I close my eyes, I'm like, whoa, how old is she? Right? Like some of the things that come out, and she credits that a lot to proximity, who she surrounds herself with. Yes, she's got her friends, but she's homeschooled, so she spends majority of the time on the road going from conference to conference. She's 14 and she's been to 25 conferences. I think that's a really great example of what is possible even at such a young age. At 8 years old, she spoke on stage with Gary Vee in front of 6,000 people. I think when we're young, when we're in an innocent state, there was nothing to be afraid of. She's like, oh yeah, I wasn't scared at all. It's like when we get older or when we are in school, when we're surrounded by people and somebody says you suck or you're this or you're not going to be this or, all that limiting stuff that we just take on. And sometimes we don't know how much it affects us, but it does. Until you're able to look at those stories and say, I will no longer participate in those stories and I will no longer grow that idea anymore. First, I have to stop speaking it. Right? I got to stop saying it. Hey, man, my whole life I've been an underdog. Well, you're super successful now. That means you were never really an underdog. All those things were just preparing you for this moment, for the success that you're creating now. Every moment is just a preparation. There is no underdog this or whatever ideas you add to yourself. None of that is really happening besides your own judgment. So returning that to the innocence, she had no worries of speaking in front of 6,000 people. Now, most of us, if we go up and stand in front of 6,000 people, all the thoughts come, what if I sound stupid? Oh my God, what if someone this? And just all that stuff comes out. And it's no different than anything else in our lives. So bringing it back a little bit to capital raising in deals. It's never actually even about the deal. With Legends, we underwrite deals and we make sure that the deal is great. Okay, the deal is going to be good. It's not about the deal. It's about our delivery, and it's about looking at the conversations that we have. We get to have conversations with people, and we get to say, hey, can we open up a possibility in their listening? That's the training here. Can we open up a possibility in their listening? But first, I must be an open space. I must be a space of possibilities. We're talking about financial freedom, spiritual freedom, and how do we merge those things into a practice in our lives. So thank you for being here, and thank you for asking. And if you see, like for her, I've kind of, if you guys see my Instagram and my social media, you'll see there's a lot of videos that's being made. I do a one take, boom, I'm done. Nick's like, you're the one take wonder. So I do one take and I'm done, because I'm just like, it doesn't matter. Like, what's supposed to be said is going to be said. Now, of course, there's another level, right? I can be more prepared. I can do multiple shots, and then I can have my video editor put it together. And in these last couple days working with Ever and her dad, I realized that I can put a lot more fun and passion and purpose into my videos. Like we shot a 45-second video, and we shot each scene like 15 times. I felt like I was like an actor or something. Like okay, let's do it one more time. Okay, now you say it this way and that way, and then it's just a lot of fun, right? Like for me, I just put a camera here, and then I just speak, and I'm done, and I send it off, and it gets edited, and it gets posted. And if you look at Ever's videos, I mean, they're all fun. Like, people actually enjoy watching them because they're entertaining too. There's so much thought behind every second that is put into the video. And I think if we add more intention and purpose into everything that we do. Last night, one of my great mentors, Millie, she was like, if you ever get stuck on something, or if you hesitate on something, and this is for everybody that is, that money is involved. If you ever get stuck on something, it is because you can't see your vision in it. So that means either one, you shouldn't be doing it because it's not aligned with your vision, or two, you're unclear on what your vision is. And so she reminded us multiple times, why are you here? Why are you here? And as soon as she said that, it went back to the movie. I don't know if you guys ever seen Wanted. Great movie. And the guy just keeps beating him up. And he's like, I don't know. Like she's like, why are you here? Why are you here? Why are you here? And just kept going until finally he was at a place that he goes, I don't know who I am. And then that's the question. It's the same thing in the Course. The Course is trying to show you, the Course is teaching you what you are and what you are not. And the entire goal in our lives is to be able to cut through all the illusions so that we may see what we are and who we are. What is our purpose? What is our function? Can I have that vision? And can I add that to all areas of my life? Everything I do is in alignment to my vision. See, sometimes that becomes like this thing that we're like, oh, we just say alignment. We like words just get said without thought. Videos get made without intention, without the presence, like being in the present moment, having great joy doing something, standing in front of 6,000 people speaking. Can you have great joy doing that and seeing the vision? Like, I'm here doing this because it aligns with my vision. Okay, I'm here doing this. Hey, make sure we don't like pop the breaker or anything like that.
I'm just plugging in
Okay. So apparently, we been popping the breakers a lot because we've got so many lights and cameras and things on. As you guys can see a little bit, like this is a different background. I'm in a new place now, and we're really, really setting up. This is my Zoom space. Over there to the right is my podcast studio. So I am going to start taking this seriously. Okay, I'm taking it to the next level because and I had no problem spending money on this stuff because it is in alignment with my vision. It supports me in what I'm trying to do. If I want to get my message out there to the world, I got to start looking more professional. I got to get more intentional. I got to have more fun with it. Right? And the message isn't just the words that come out of my mouth, but it's the effort it took to put this together. It's the money that went into buying the best material so that we can produce the highest quality content. And also, these things are representations of things that I love, and people get to also see that too. And then people also get to have the courage to show some of the things that they love. Who what made me the way I am? What are these action figures here? Dragon Ball Z, like what? What is that? Right? I want people to know who I am and what affected my life. And then people may read right here, they're like, oh, what is this? Babeski. Right? Babeski. What's Babeski? Right? So it's just a lot of cool things, and I want people to be, I want people to know who I am. And if I set up my space intentionally, every single thing in the bookshelf behind me, it has intention behind it. So can we start to do our lives this way? Can we make all of our investments with intention behind it? Can we have conversations with intention behind it? Before even going into a conversation, I set my intentions of what is it that I want out of this conversation? What is it that I'm committed to creating as a result of having this conversation? Right? Coming onto this call, every time I do a live, and I do a bunch of lives every day. I do a bunch of calls every day, and I say to myself, God, you guide me in this conversation here. Okay? What needs to be said will be said. What needs to be heard will be heard, and how it will affect our minds, it is not up to me. Use me as the channel. Use me as a tool to deliver whatever amount of love needs to be delivered today. Okay, maybe sometimes we get into tougher conversations on this call. Right? We talked about death, we talked about losing jobs, we've talked about a lot of fears. We talked about a lot of stuff on here. And so, yeah, let's pause for a second. I'll take some questions and thoughts. Melinda, go ahead. You got your hand up, Melinda?
Okay, on the subject of money, I ended up getting this book. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it? And it's a really good read. And what it says is never use word money spent. Instead, circulate or use money because what you spend is gone forever, but when you circulate it, it returns to you multiple. So I just thought that was really a nice way to learn about, think about money, because most people were saying that, it's lack, but when you circulate it, it comes back to you.
Yeah, totally, for sure.
All money I use and circulate returns back to me in multiplication. So if you want to use this book, it has great affirmations and it has great ways to think of money.
What's the book called?
It's on the top seller list. It's called Money is Looking for You, and it's by Emma Roberts. And it's really a good, it's a short read, 53 pages, and it's really great affirmations like money is wonderful, money is freedom, money is comfort, power, money is love, energy, money is great, money is clairvoyant, supports my life, and very good, and there is no evil in money.
Yeah.
It's a powerful book about affirmations and money, and it gives you a different way to look at money, and it's really free, and you can use it on basis, for reaffirming the money aspect.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I just want to share because that it was a good read.
Yeah, affirmations are great because
Thank you for everything that you do.
thank you. Thank you for always being here. You're my number one cheerleader from the start. Go ahead, Sylvius.
Thank you for the opportunity, Alex. Coming off of the last call last night, I have to sit down with myself. I could not follow you in the party after. Um, there was a question there that it really resonated with me, and I want to put it out there. When the why comes in play, I realize, and this is one of the reasons why I'm in this call too. I realize that everything that I put down so far and that drives me to do better in my life is my family.
Hmm.
So it's somewhat an exterior factor, even though it's close to me and dear to me. I'm still looking more into the outside than into the inside of me. And because of that, things came in like why my family. I went a layer deeper because I want them to have a better life. I want my kids to experience better schools, but I also want my $60 million private jet and my 800 units.
Hmm.
I looked into it, and my vision when I'm fundraising and I'm putting it out there in the universe, my vision is somewhat small. It's all reflected into me and me and me and me. It's what this me wants. And I heard you guys talk about the vision about the gratitude center, which I'm helping and supporting and looking forward to bring it to fruition, reality for other people. When I'm looking into my why, it's so narrow now. Is there any work that we could do into finding this bigger why?
Yeah. So, like you said, okay, you actually answered yourself right there. It's about being outwardly focused. Okay, because all of our visions are tiny compared to the vision of God, of the universe. Like we can only see it's either us or it's our family or it's our, our town or it's our state or it's our country. Whatever, all of that is still tiny compared to the universe. So it's about giving it over. It's about enjoying the time also that you're here. Like joy is exactly what the universe wants you to have. Okay, everywhere. So the course points to we know we're on the right path when we are having joy doing what we're doing. And if we are not, we get to look at what stories we added in there. What did I make up about it? So being outwardly focused. I'll give you an example. And I practice this a lot. And I also recognize that my vision is tiny. Okay, it's tiny because my mind has not expanded wide enough to include the whole. That means I have to constantly give over my judgments to spirit, right? Things show up. Like this morning, my sister called me. She's like, I'm only making, $8,000 or something like that on this $100,000 investment this year. I'm like, making 8% without having to do one single thing, without having to lift your finger for the year is not that bad. It's a pretty good cash return, especially on real estate. And this is not to take into effect the appreciation of the property as well and the depreciation of the taxes that you get from it, right? So there's like so many things in it, but she got really upset. And it's not up to me to make her not upset in that moment, but it is up to me how I'm going to react to it, right? Because when she said all this, she's like, you said we were going to make $30,000 and this and that. And I'm like, yeah, maybe, but the conditions of the world kind of changed. Your interest rates went up and, Airbnb become way more competitive. I can only give you projections based on past returns that I've made. I can't predict the future, but we can do the best we can to make sure we don't lose money, right? So she got real upset, but I'm like, okay, well, let me just, after my ACIM call, I'll call you back, right? So, but I could have reacted in the defense. I could have started saying all these things. I'm like, okay, I hear you. Cool. From your perspective, you are right. I don't know what the greater picture of this is, but I needed a moment to give it over to spirit, because I could react in a defensive way. And I could blow it up and be like, all right, let's sell the place. I don't want to take care of it. You know, none of us are really making that much money on it, but it's an investment for you and you're my sister and I'll take care of it for you. You know, so, but where's that going to go? That doesn't add more love to our relationship. I wouldn't have more joy when we talk about this. So, you know, even my own visions is too small. So being outwardly focused, when people come to me and I see like, okay, well, here's a great opportunity for me to grow. Somebody's like, I can offer you this and help you build up your LinkedIn. I'm like, how do we help my entire Legends group? Okay, can we do something where we have everyone get to learn at the same time? I don't want to learn just by myself. I don't want it by myself. But how can we set up something where you come in and you teach our group once a month and just add more value to our group? And as I do that, all it does is add to me as well. Because everybody rises together no matter what. Every time we start thinking about ourselves, the ego comes in and you will find something wrong in every situation. You could have the most amount of money and the ego will still find something wrong with that. Because the ego is always looking for something that it cannot attain. Now, when you think about the community, when you think about other people, you want other people to be successful and to achieve greatness and to achieve prosperity and abundance. Then your mind, as you watch other people do it that you were able to be a part of, there's like no greater fulfillment than that I got to play a part in ever raising her $100,000. That in this moment, I can even say that I can say, I'm going to help you raise the next $1 million. But if I was thinking for myself, ooh, I'm going to raise $1 million, like that may be like, ooh, how am I going to do that? Like all these limiting things starts to come. And what I start to think is, how do I cut my expenses? How do I get more money by not spending as much? Versus when I'm helping her raise, I'm like, whatever it takes. I'll spend the money to go create a meetup and then have people invest or not invest, donate into her cause. And I feel super good about that. So it's just like being so focused outwards all the time, training yourself to be focused outwards. And then also when things come up, give it over. Give it up to the spirit, knowing that I don't really know the purpose of this. I don't know why it's in my life. I don't know why someone came in and started yelling at me. I don't know why I dropped my iPhone and it broke. I don't know why I lost money in this investment or that, or I didn't make as much as I expected. Give those things all up, knowing that everything that you can possibly ever ask for is provided for you. And from that mindset, it allows money to circulate more into your life. Right? Like for example, just from that meetup, I'll give you guys an example. And those of you that may not have the context, I'll just share it all. This past week at GrowthCon, we were going to throw a meetup. It was extremely expensive to throw something here in Vegas. I was having scarcity thoughts around it. I was like, what are we going to do? The speaker that I was going to bring, bailed on me last minute. And then I meet this girl and I'm like, this meetup is for you. I found that the moment that I was like very clear that I'm throwing this meetup, not for me, but for her. I was meant to meet her. I was having some tightness of energy and scarcity thoughts around money. And once I met her, all of that was clear for me. I was like, my mission this weekend and my mission at this meetup is to help you get to $100,000. And we did so fast. And people were so inspired by that too, that they were like, how do I join your group? How do I become a legend? How do I do what you guys are doing? Everybody wants a piece. And it's like, see, I focused outwards. And then it's people want to be a part of it, and as we continue to do that, and one of the things I do believe is like all minds are joined. Since all minds are joined, one person thinking a toxic thought or an attack thought, it could affect other people in the room. But then on the other side, the flip side, one person having a holy thought, a giving thought, can also extend and infect the rest of the room in that, right? So the 2%, like we have a thing that we say, it's the 2% rule. 2% of the people in a room or anywhere believes something or is operating from certain energetic field, it will change and shift the mindset of the rest. Okay, so that means one person in a room of 50 can really drastically create a difference in everything in there. So, I'm very cautious and careful with who I'm inviting into the community in the beginning right now, because we don't have a lot of members. It takes one person to start spewing out toxic attack thoughts to have other people think it as well. Right? All of a sudden, everyone's like, oh yeah, maybe, what's in it for me? What's in it for me? And then that starts to happen. And then it affects people, it infects people. And it's also the same if you sit in a giving mindset. And then all of a sudden it starts to infect. And as you give, and so you shall receive. It's going to come back to you. It may not come back to you in the form that you want in this moment. It may not happen for you at the time that you want. See, that's not up to any of us. That is up to an energy and God. It is up to God when you will receive your gifts. And also, it's always, and it's not even up to him when you're receiving it. It's really up to you when you will receive it. Because it's always given. It's always there. Any thoughts, any questions? I'm going to read something in the course.
Thank you. I got two things out of this that I was able to pinpoint right away. Number one is being outwardly focused. And number two is joy as feedback.
Yes. Joy is such a thank you for writing that down, because I may not remember it later, and it's probably a really good point for us to continue to emphasize. Right, the more we share it, the more it becomes real. And yeah, so thank you for writing that down and sharing it. So joy and being outwardly focused, and deep inside, that resonates with you and that resonates with us, because we know that to be true. We know what's true and what's not. We've just kind of put the veil down and we're like, oh, I didn't know that I was the one doing it. I didn't know that I'm in control of my life, of my decisions and my reactions. So, we kind of give ourselves a way out, almost like, it's not me, it's them. Like, that's the easiest way out, is to blame it on somebody else. All right, so let's see. Let's get started on reading the course. We don't get a chance to read as many sections, but we are in chapter 13, and it speaks about the guiltless world. And we are on a section 3 called the fear of redemption. That's interesting, right? It's kind of like when people say we're afraid of success. Why are we afraid of success? Like, we want to be successful, and we're afraid of success because we're afraid of all the other obstacles that come with success. We're afraid that we may have to stand up and speak in front of 6,000 people. We're afraid that people may judge us. We're afraid that we may fail, or we're afraid that we may get it and then lose it. Think about all the craziness of the ego. Like, it didn't even happen yet, but we're afraid of achieving and then failing after. If once you've made $100,000, Millie said this last night too on our call. Once you've made $100,000, you know how to make it. But until you do, you have no idea how to get there. And then once you've made $1 million, you'll always know how to make $1 million. Once you make $1 billion, you'll always know how to make $1 billion. So the fear of attaining it and losing it, it's like insanity. It's basically insanity. You can focus on that, or you can focus on the growth that was there. All right, go ahead, Melinda. And Irvin, welcome, brother.
Okay, I'm just going to give you an example because, let me see. The other day,
Thanks
I
for the
was
follow.
really worried because I was getting my tooth pulled, and that was so bad. I was full of I felt that before, but it was awful because before I had a root canal that really hurt. Well, but getting tooth pulled, they're two totally different experiences. So I got pain with my tooth pulled, but here I am. I'm fearing, and I sat there and just worried and worried and worried for nothing. People worry about 99%, and true.
Yeah, you're getting cut out a little bit.
You guys, let's put worry in and start to. Okay, having joy and love. I mean, that's what we're supposed to be. Joy, love, happiness, and create a great space for everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, quit worrying.
Mm-hmm. So easier said than done, obviously, but yeah.
Well, yeah, it was. I mean, because I was a mess, but I mean, when I look at it, I have to laugh at myself because I was a mess, and what.
That's it right there. What you
experiences, so don't worry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you said right there is actually important.
It's two different experiences, so don't even try to compare it. Because each one of them is going to be totally different. And just enjoy the ride.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the.
I hope that helps.
Yes, and you may need to connect a little bit better to an internet because you're getting cut out here and there. And thank you guys for the follow. There's lots of follows from Instagram Live. It comes in and out.
My internet is out, and as far as it's getting fixed today. Thank God.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so one thing I do want to say that you mentioned right there that's really important is. Laugh at yourself for being silly, for being crazy, right? Every time you go into judgment, every time you recognize that you're worrying for no reason, like laugh at it. If we can make joy, see, when people go through trauma, and we tend to try to do this. We try to make light of situations by laughing around it. Right? Marissa's on her way to the dentist. I haven't gone to the dentist in like 6 years. Oops. That's how afraid I am of the dentist. Okay, so when you can laugh at things, that's when you know you've like healed from it. Right? Like whenever we get so serious about a conversation, just think, when can I laugh about this? Right? And then anything. Like, when can I laugh about me losing all my money? When can I laugh about somebody passing away? When can I laugh about my dog passing away? Right? There's just so many things that when we bring laughter and joy to it, it's like our guiding, like our north. Right? It's like our north star. Can we bring joy and can we laugh about these things? About how silly we are and how serious we take all the things that aren't that serious. Like, can we laugh at that? Can we bring joy? And when we say joy, we can also say, can we bring holiness into this moment? Like, let me let this moment be holy, be joyful. Can we laugh at it? Go ahead, Natalia.
Hi, can you hear me well?
Yeah.
Okay, fabulous. So you were, Millie mentioned, and you mentioned it today again, about this idea of, okay, so you first reached your first 100,000, and then you 200,000, and then once you make the first million, then so for me, what I've been experiencing is okay, kind of going into doubt. It's like, okay, I was able to quadruple my income last year, and now I set myself a big ass goal, and I went back and like, am I going to be able to do this again? Like, is it like, there's that voice, that's the ego speaking. So even like talking about it, kind of like, so what?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, what kind of practices? So what do you think in those moments of, yes, I get it, like outwardly focused, but like, how do I go back to that, to like being on the flow again of like making it happen, as opposed to like, retracting, or what's that word I'm looking for?
Yeah. So here's the thing. You did it before. You got to look at the things that worked in your life. See, a lot of times what we do, so like, for example, last year, I also like tripled my income and I doubled my net worth, but I also spent $165,000 in mentorships and masterminds and learnings and all that. So it drastically increased my learning, and learning, your income does not far exceed your growth, your personal growth. So I grew like crazy last year. You guys can see it on Instagram. You guys can see it on a lot of things. But I was working really hard, and those were things that worked. I don't know that I didn't really pay as much attention to all the little things I did. I did 11 phone calls or Zoom calls a day for a whole year. That built me to where I am now. And then now I'm not doing 11 calls anymore, right? So some of the things I am letting slip, and I'm building something else that's bigger. But there's that level of trust that as long as you are putting effort in the direction with intention, right? My intention is this. I got my eyes on the goal, my eyes on the prize. I have a vision of where I'm going. And every day, am I doing something to move the meter? Am I pushing myself towards it? And that's all you can ask for. And then you can look back at it at the end of the year. But in this moment, you're trying to look at the future, looking back at this year. That's not really going to help. Actually, Tony Robbins does actually do something that utilizes that. It's called forward pacing. Okay, so you actually pace yourself to the forward moment and look back at the success, and then you move it back. You move it back to this moment and you decide, oh, okay, every day this is what I need to do. Every hour, this is what I need to do. And last night, we created battle buddies. Right? You guys all got battle buddies that were on the call. And now you can hold each other accountable and really stand for each other's visions. And as you learn from that, I don't want you to just do it for your battle buddy, but start to be that for everyone in your life. Start learning how to be a stand for other people. Hey, man, what's really important to you? Right? What's important to you? What are your goals? How can I help you win? Right? Like one of our sayings in Legends is, how can I help you win? And we post it everywhere. It's on everybody's Zoom backgrounds because it's a reminder. It's our affirmation to think outwards, to be outwardly focused. Because if we just sit here and we don't bring intention into being outwardly focused, naturally it will start to be focused inwards towards me. Oh, what about me? What about me? What about me? I'm scared, I'm this, I'm that, and you will spiral out of control down in that direction. When you have a conversation with somebody, hey, how can I help you? Like, how can I help you win? Not that I project that they need help, but like, can I help you with something? Right? Can I open up a possibility not only for them? And here's the thing. When you're in conversations with somebody, if a possibility opened up for you, it's opened up in them. That's one way to gauge it. Right? Like, I'm in the conversation with somebody. I'm not just waiting for them to finish so I can say what I want to say, but I'm really in exploration with them of what's important. Maybe it's their kids. Like, what's important? And when somebody else starts to open that up, because it's too often now we have these surface conversations that don't go nowhere. And because we're so tired of surface conversations, everybody is so guarded. Everybody is guarded. Like, oh, man, what are you going to sell me now? Right? Anything that has, oh, that's a pyramid. That's this. There's just like so much projections and insecurities about ourselves that we are just so guarded. Oh, I don't want to fall in love and have my heart broken again. You know, I can't trust women that dress like this, or men that say these things, or men that work on Wall Street, or do this. I mean, we just like start labeling people. We don't even use our critical thinking anymore. We just label people. Everyone that is this does this. Everyone that is that does that. We just start labeling everyone. So, you know, for you, Natalia, is like, am I walking every day towards my goal? What is your goal? Are you clear on your goal? Are you clear on why it's important to you? Those are the questions to ask. And as you focus on those questions and not the, oh, what if I don't make it? Because this goes back to the beginning of our call, which is everything is an idea and everything is energy. That means the more you put your thought and effort into it and that you speak it out, the more real it becomes. Okay? If you focus on what if I can't do it? What if can I do it? And you start going down that rabbit hole, that will continue to grow and that will become real for you. And you will think about it more and more and more. But if you focus on the steps that you're taking every day, being very clear that this is your goal, telling everybody what your goal is and why it's important to you, now you're going to start calling forth allies to help you get there. Like when you speak with somebody, do you want to hear like how amazing they dream? You know, like what are their dreams? Like when we listen to Ever speak on the Monday night Zoom, or if you got a chance to meet her in person, like how refreshing is it to hear a 14-year-old talk about a dream with no limitations? Or do you enjoy talking to somebody that is skeptical about everything and is pissed off about everything and is upset about the world, how unfair it is, how hard it is? Like, which conversation do you want to hear? Personally, yourself. Right? And from there, how do I want to show up? If I don't want to hear that, then I don't want to be that. Don't be that. Hang around more teens. Hang around more people that are doing this body of work that's helping you think in a positive way. Hang around people. Proximity. I really start to understand how that's working.
So good,
Thank you for that question.
So good. It's like, yeah, like that question that you posed of like, do I want to hear Ever speak or do I want to hear like somebody coming from the ego? So like, I'm gonna keep on asking myself that question every time before I speak, before I say anything, before I share. Do I want to sound like the dreamer or the downer?
That's a good one. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, and listen, I mean, we are really, really affected by our environment as well. But we can become very clear. We can become super clear about the direction and where we want to go. You know, and one of the things that I say to people is like, yes, you want to make an impact in this world, but you want to be in every place like I am going to be life change impact by this person or by being at this event. I go to GrowthCon knowing and even expecting that my life is going to change. Because I'm going to be so open that I will be impacted by anybody in a positive way. Right? I'm going to find someone like Ever and I'm going to let her impact my life and change my life. It's a mindset to be in. It's a way of being to allow yourself to be open to be impacted. And like that's one thing, like a lot of people talk about impact, like impacting others. But also, can you allow others to impact you in such a drastic way? Like, can we be in here on this call in this moment and be like, man, the question that Natalia asked, like, let that impact my life. Let that shatter all the limiting beliefs that I had before. Because everybody, when things are said here, energy is moving, and you are hearing it through your own filters. We could be talking about Ever, and you could be thinking about your father or your family or your coworker. Allow it to impact you in those areas. because if the thoughts come, it's meant to come. Like, it's a place for you to look at what needs some work. All right, so yeah, that was an awesome question. Thank you. Okay, let me read a section real quick, and then we'll get back to more of the conversation piece. All right, so chapter 13, the guiltless world, section 3, the fear of redemption. You may wonder why it is so crucial that you look upon your hatred and realize its full extent. You may also think that it would be easy enough for the Holy Spirit to show it to you and to dispel it without the need for you to raise it to awareness yourself. So awareness always comes first. Okay? Yet, there is one more obstacle you have interposed between yourself and the atonement. The atonement is really to recognize the innocence again, to see as before, to give as before the separation happened, before my mind was infected with limiting beliefs, with stories. So the atonement. We have said that no one will counter fear if he recognizes it. Yet in your disordered state of mind, you are not afraid of fear. You do not like it, but it is not your desire to attack that really frightens you. You are not seriously disturbed by your hostility. You keep it hidden because you are more afraid of what it covers. You could look even upon the ego's darkest cornerstone without fear if you did not believe that without the ego, you will find within yourself something you fear even more. You are not really afraid of the crucifixion. Your real terror is the redemption. It's your fear. You're not really afraid to be crucified. Your terror is really the redemption. Okay, so here, let me just explain that real quick. We are so afraid of redemption because we actually have to shift all the other things we said before, all the condemnations that we made, all the judgments that we've made, all the attack that we've made, that we've built our entire identity defining. Okay? All the judgments you've made. Your identity is built around all the defense of all of your thoughts. Like, I've said it, now I got it, now I got to be accountable to it. Now it's real, right? So the redemption is none of that even is true. Now all of a sudden we're really afraid of that, because if we were to be redeemed, all the things I pretended not to be or to be is all just shattered. And then who am I really? That's what we're afraid of. We're not afraid when somebody attacks us or if we judge or all of that. Yes, it's not comfortable. Yes, we feel like shit afterwards, and we can blame this, blame that. Ego has all these ways of getting you out of it. What we're really afraid of is the redemption, to see the light that we really are. Because then all the things that I said all these past years, we're afraid of that. Okay, under the ego's dark foundation of the memory of God, and it is of this that you are really afraid. You are actually afraid of the memory of God, because we've gotten ourselves to a point, because we condemn, because we judge, because we attack, we are actually afraid of God's retaliation against us. I heard somebody saying that I'm a something God-fearing American. God-fearing, is that supposed to be like, what is that? Like, are we trying to say that God's going to retaliate against us? Are we afraid of the judgment? Why are we so afraid of it? For this memory will instantly restore you to your proper place, and it is this place that you have sought to leave. Your fear of attack is nothing compared to your fear of love. You would be willing to look even upon your savage will to kill God's Son if you did not believe that it saves you from love. For this wish caused the separation, and you have protected it because you do not want the separation healed. You rather keep all of your stuff, your dream world material things, than to be in love. You rather keep money and accumulate objects, which are illusions in this world, We've given meaning to those things. They really have no meaning, period. You rather have those things than to return your mind to love, is what the Course is saying. You realize that by removing the dark cloud that obscured it, your love for your Father would impel you to answer his call and leap into heaven. You believe that attack is salvation because it will prevent you from this. For still deeper than the ego's foundation and much stronger than it will ever be is your intense and burning love of God and his for you. This is what you really want to hide. In honesty, it is not harder for you to say I love than I hate. You associate love with weakness and hatred with strength, and your own real power seems to you as your real weakness. For you cannot control your joyous response to the call of love if you heard it, and the whole world you thought you made would vanish. The Holy Spirit then seems to be attacking your fortress, for you would shut out God, and he does not will to be excluded. Like, we have created a world, and it will shatter as soon as we return home. As soon as we return our mind back to the proper place of love. All the stuff, all the attack, all the blame, everything gets shattered, and that's what we're really afraid of. You have built your whole insane belief system because you think you would be helpless in God's presence, and you would save yourself from his love because you think it would crush you into nothingness. You are afraid it would sweep you away from yourself and make you little because you believe that magnitude lies in defiance and that attack is grandeur. You think you have made a world God would destroy. And by loving him, which you do, you would throw this world away, which you would. Therefore, you have used the world to cover your love. And the deeper you go into the blackness of the ego's foundation, the closer you come to the love that is hidden there. And it is this that frightens you. See, if you really think about it, we talk about transformational work. We don't want to face the dragon. The dragon is all this limiting stuff, all the stuff that I falsely believed in, that I thought was me, that I thought was important to me. That's why people are so afraid of transformational work. On some level, we're like, oh my God, I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna be a whole different person when I come out. We're afraid to face those things. We're afraid to have these types of conversations. We don't feel comfortable jumping on a call every Wednesday and Saturday talking about this. These are the important conversations that we don't want to have because we rather talk about football and talk about the weather and talk about government and talk about this because we can find allies in which we blame and attack each other. We can find the team of people that support the Eagles and let's attack the people that are, rooting for the Giants and vice versa. Like, ooh, that feels good. But none of that even really matters. Like, think about what you would be thinking if you only have 5 minutes left to live. If you have 5 minutes left to live, what do you want to know at that point? Do you want to know what the score of the Eagles game is? You want to know who's getting traded to what team? Now, there's nothing wrong with that. Totally enjoy it. But when that becomes the most important conversation, and I know so many people that are just, like, sports is their life. Like, they would kill for their team. Like, what? Just sounds crazy. You can accept insanity because you made it, but you cannot accept love because you did not. You would rather be a slave of the crucifixion than the Son of God in redemption. Your individual death seems more valuable than living your oneness. For what is given you is not so dear to as what you have made. You are more afraid of God than of the ego, and love cannot enter. Where it is not welcome. But hatred can, for it enters on its own volitions and cares not for yours. Love cannot enter where it is not welcome, but hatred can, for it enters of its own volition and cares not of yours. You must look upon your illusions and not keep them hidden, because they do not rest on their own foundation. In concealment, they appear to do so, and thus they seem to be self-sustained. This is the fundamental illusion on which the others rest. For beneath them, and concealed as long as they are hidden, is the loving mind that thought it and made them into anger. And the pain in this mind is so apparent when it is uncovered that its need of healing cannot be denied. Not all the tricks and games you offer it can heal it. And for here is the real crucifixion of God's Son. And yet he is not crucified. Here is both his pain and his healing, for the Holy Spirit's vision is merciful and his remedy is quick. Do not hide suffering from his sight and bring it gladly to him. Lay before his eternal sanity all your hurt and let him heal you. Do not leave any spot of pain hidden from his light, and search your mind carefully for any thoughts you may fear to uncover. For he will heal every little thought that you have kept to hurt you, and cleanse it of its littleness, restoring it to the magnitude of God. This is why we give everything over. We're not trying to purify thoughts and then give it over to the Holy Spirit and to God. That's an ego's game. For you, can I just give all the situations over? That's the challenge. Beneath all the grandiosity you hold so dear is your real call for help. For you call for love to your Father as your Father calls to you. In that place which you have hidden, you will only to unite with the Father in loving embrace of him. You will find this place of truth as you see it in your brothers, for though they may deceive themselves like you, they long for the grandeur that is in them. And perceiving it, you will welcome it, and it will be yours. And the course is always talking about how to give it, how to free yourself. The way to free yourself is to free others. It's to recognize that they also play the same game that you play. They are also in this place of protecting what isn't valuable. This world that we've created, all the material things that we've given so much efforts to. Everybody is partaking there. And how do we help heal? We help heal by recognizing God in each person, recognizing the Spirit. Claudia.
Alex?
Yeah.
Yes. Hi, brother.
Hi.
How are you?
Hey, I'm great.
I put my video for a second because it's a mess here, but hi.
Hi.
So I want to share something with you when you read. This is chapter 13, right? You said?
Yeah.
Okay. Very beautiful. And I gotta say something. I've been about a year and a half, being in your call most of the time. Sometimes skip depending on work, but and home stuff. But I get to say this is the very first time that I hear saying the whole chapter, and my conscious understands every single word and it lands, right? It's been a year and a half, and it's not because this is not my first language. It's because my consciousness, it wasn't in the space.
Mm-hmm.
So my invitation to everybody is, if you don't understand one word of Alex's explanation or Alex's process or Alex's reading, you hang in there, because when the time comes, it will land as it's supposed to be. So I just wanted to add that to this beautiful day, because it was like, wow. I think I heard this before, but it never landed the way it's landed today. So
yeah.
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. And thank you for being in that space. You know, this is what I talk about, like the openness. We understand everything when we're completely open. You know, we're completely open to love and to these words, because right now your mind and your heart is open. That's why you can understand these words. Otherwise, there are times that I'm reading the course and I'm thinking about, you know, another situation, and I can't understand what it is that I'm reading. That's always happening, right? So, like, can we bring ourselves back? Like, can we give ourselves just a couple moments in the day that we could be in this complete meditative, surrendered place. We run from point A to point B like the moment we get out of bed. And I do it too. I'm always like this. The moment that I wake up, first thing I do, it's like I don't even have to be awake. I reach over and I grab my phone. And I check, okay, what's going on already? First moment. So I'm intentionally now putting things in. I'm like, okay, well, if I do that anyways, I don't have to bad and wrong or shame myself. What can I do that's going to fill my mind with some love and some positivity right off the bat as soon as I grab my phone anyways? So I have, agreements with my battle buddies, okay, people that hold me accountable to things. Hey, first thing I read is a message that says, Day 9, Abundance Book. I'm like, oh yeah, I get to read the abundance book. Reminders, that's we made agreements like, hey, send that to me, right? And then other people send, and other alarms and things pop up. That's all just positive things with the Course in Miracles, this and that. We don't need to bad or judge ourselves to do something else. Everything can help us. See, everything can help us. We have a habit. Well, add some positivity to it. Use it, right? Use it, and if it doesn't work, then you'll stop doing it. But add the positivity into it. My alarm rings, and it says like you're gonna be great today. Like that's the first thing I see. Like help people today. And then one of the lessons from A Course in Miracles pops up. So yes, I kind of, sometimes I'm like, oh wait, there's other messages. Because I wake up here, even when I wake up at 6, it's already 9 o'clock Eastern time. I already got phone calls and messages from people that are like asking for this and that, and deals that are happening. That's the first moment I wake up in the morning. And I'm already thinking that. I'm already thinking go, go, go. I don't even give myself some time to grab a drink and to just wake up. I go right back. I go from sleep right into the dream. That's what I'm doing. Right? And then we get to have these moments. And I love Sundays and Wednesdays when people join us here because my phone is on Do Not Disturb. It's the only time that my phone is ever on Do Not Disturb is when we're doing these ACIM calls. Now, I would love, my goal, my vision is that I don't need to be doing any of my other calls, and I just do these A Course in Miracles calls every day. That's all I want to do. Now, I do kind of do that because those of you guys that are part of the Legends community, every single call that we do, there is A Course in Miracles in it, right? It's more than about doing deals. Like people, I tell you what you think you want, that you're going to come into this group and do real estate. And then you come in and you realize you're changing your life and you're changing other people's lives. And that's what we're up to. We're about bringing peace and joy and love and abundance into the world. And and real estate just happens to be things we do on the side. And we do it with grace. We do it with, calmness. There is no crazy, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Like, oh my God, there's short. We have a community of people. We always know that somebody's got our backs. It's a good feeling, So, yeah, it's fun. It's great. And those of you guys that are a part of it, we are literally impacting each other's lives in such a way that we can't even fathom. Claudia, you still have your hand up, or it's just been up? Okay, go ahead, Sylvius.
It was being up. It's okay.
All right, thank you, Claudia. You mentioned one word there that touched me because repeatedly I've been thinking of it. And, I still don't know what to make out of it.
Uh-huh.
I don't have an excuse for not understanding it. What is grace?
What do you think it is? Before I project my own meaning onto you, you tell me what you hear because it touched you. So you tell me what grace means.
It touched me because I get this feedback a lot. I I get this feedback that seriously, you got to be more grateful, or more graceful
Mm.
with yourself. When you speak about yourself, when you speak about things that you do, you're not graceful. And grace, to me, is not. It's something that wasn't in my vocabulary ever. I do have a harsh coming from a communist country. That's not an excuse. I still don't understand the term. I'm being graceful in my investments with the people that I meet. I'm very harsh on myself.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't understand the meaning. I looked into vocabulary and stuff like that. I still don't understand the meaning.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and I'll give you what I think personally for me what graceful means. You know, like being graceful is to be able to do things without resistance. You know, to be able to operate in a space just simply allowing things to come to you. Being surrendered to how these situations are playing out. And can I be like water? Water is very graceful, right? You can throw a giant rock and it just boom sits there, and water gracefully moves around the rock. Right? Water is not like, let me break through this rock, and like that's not very graceful. Graceful is how can you move through life without resistance? You be like water. Bruce Lee says, be like water. Water is graceful. And can you be like water? And all of the loving energies out there is also very graceful. Now, hatred, judgment, those are not very graceful things. They actually seem very turbulent. Right? Like you just bump up against things. And this is a great conversation. That's a really good question. I would love to hear what other people also has with grace. Natalia, go ahead first.
Hi. So that was really a beautiful question. And as you asked it, I started thinking to myself, what does graceful mean to me? And the first thing that I thought of was a ballerina. So I wanted to share that. And then you started speaking about water and the movement of water. And so when a ballerina is dancing, it's like in the flow, and it's just every single movement is graceful. So that's graceful to me. Thank you for asking that, Sylvia.
Yeah, it's really great to put that into our minds today. Like, can we be like the ballerina going through our life today? Can we be like the water? Can we flow with what's going on? When something comes and it's like, oh my God, that came from left field. I don't just lose my cool. I don't just lose it. Can I just play with it and be in the flow with it? Go ahead, Alex.
Forgive me if I sound a little off. I'm sick this morning.
You're good.
So I picked it up from the dictionary, and what they have is grace is a virtue or excellence of divine origin, as in a state of grace. And what I hear when I read that is it may not also look the same for everybody. Sometimes grace looks like allowing yourself to be frustrated. Sometimes grace looks like taking time and being patient with where you're not at. And just allowing yourself to, if you're frustrated, be frustrated. If you're incoherent that day, if you're sick, if you're whatever, allowing everything to come out of this authentic space and not trying to suppress or press down your true feelings to give an impression of what you think grace is. So that's just all I got to add. Thank you guys for listening.
Yeah, awesome. That was great. Anybody else want to add anything to grace? Anybody, you can also write it in Instagram in the comments if you have something about grace. And here's the thing, the course actually says spirit is in a state of grace forever. And your reality is owning spirit. Therefore, you are in a state of grace forever. So even though you may not think you are being graceful, you have no choice but to be graceful, because you are playing exactly the role that needs to be played, that spirit would have you play. You are in a state of grace forever. Let's just accept that. You can say I'm not graceful, this and that. Well, the only way we can decide if we're not something is we trap ourselves in time. Yeah, up to this point, I was not graceful with this. But then I become really graceful in this moment. So am I actually graceful or not? Am I my past or am I the now? So spirit is always in a state of grace, and you are always spirit. That means you are in a state of grace forever. God decides that. Right? Spirit is having you do what you do. The roles that you play in your life, you are going to play it. The only question now becomes, can I recognize the role that I'm playing now? Can I be a great receiver of the information from spirit, from God? Can I gracefully accept my grace?